May I offer you some
I'll
refreshments,
come right
Admiral?
to the point, Captain.
Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and Admiral Nechayev is just the worst, isn't she? I mean, admirals have a bad reputation in Star Trek. Unethical, unyielding, even short-sighted. Heck, even the better admirals are involved in some pretty shady business. How is Starfleet picking these people? But there's one admiral that almost every Trekkie seems to hate. Admiral Nechayev. For someone who's only appeared in 6 episodes across Next Gen and DS9, the Blonde Terror certainly has left an impression. And Natalia Nogalich is a good actress. Though granted, I've only seen her in Christmas Vacation and that episode of Designing Women where she played a college professor who liked dating college students. Bet you never saw Nechayev with her hair down, have you?
I think you're full of crap.
Let's start at the beginning. After all, first impressions mean a lot. And Picard certainly plays a good host for a first impression. Would you like some coffee, Admiral?
I'm afraid there's no time for the usual pleasantries. I'm here to relieve you of command of the Enterprise.
Actually, Picard offering coffee and not tea should have been a sign that something bad was about to happen. But okay, to be fair, they were on a time crunch. In fact, they were on such a time crunch that the teaser was less than a minute long. Jeez, a minute was all it took to take the Enterprise away from Picard? How many people have tried to hijack the Enterprise when all it took was Nechayev to walk in the ready room and say, hey, you're out? But anyways, the Cardassians have withdrawn from Bajor, leaving an opening for a commander's position on the new station over there. But more concerning is they're amassing troops along the Federation's border. I mean, to be fair, in civilization, that's usually a precursor to war. It's cause for concern.
Are the Cardassians ready for a war?
I didn't say war, Commander. I said incursion.
Well, excuse me, Admiral.
Well, excuse me, Princess.
That was a legitimate question, though. Sure, right now they might have been planning an incursion, which is just a fancy word for attack or invasion. How is that not a precursor to war? But Riker was asking about the seriousness of the situation. This is the difference between Romulans crossing the border because of a science vessel that might turn into a firefight, and holy crap, they're taking a bunch of Federation planets! She's just arguing semantics here. Yeah, she deserved that! Though, hope she didn't see that. Heck, when Troy basically asks her the same thing, she answers the question, no problem.
They're gambling that the Federation won't actually go to war over one system.
Will we?
I hope we won't need to make that decision.
Maybe she just doesn't like Riker. I don't know why, though. That beard is pretty magnificent. She even completely bypassed Riker to command the Enterprise. She gave it to Jelly Jellicoe. I mean, they're not going to war, they just need a Federation presence on the border, and they're there for negotiations. Heck, Riker has experience dealing with the Cardassians from a few years ago, and he practically saved Earth from a Borg invasion. Why wouldn't he be qualified? Maybe she did see that eye roll earlier.
And I want someone on the bridge who has a great deal of experience with the Cardassians. No offense, Commander, but that's not you.
Oof, that was a rough first impression, but to be fair, Nechayev isn't out of line. Sure, she's brusque and not exactly the most pleasant person in the room, but she's not doing anything particularly unethical, which is unusual for an admiral. She's following her orders and passing along orders to the Enterprise crew, neither of which are objectionable or wrong. And she's not there to make friends. That's entirely fair. I still don't think she needed to be that short with Riker because I don't think he was out of line asking if the Cardassians are preparing for war. The Enterprise should know that. I'd even argue that his approaching Nechayev about how he could have captained the Enterprise wasn't entirely out of line since he waited for everyone else to leave before approaching the subject. But then again, I never served in the military, but even I can recognize that though she's kinda short with Riker, she's not doing anything unethical or illegal. It's not illegal to be a jerk to someone.
You nursed the Borg back to health, treated it like a guest, gave it a name, and then sent it home.
Oh boy! Now, to be fair, Borg is one of those episodes where the moral dilemma is pretty gray. Sure, Picard could have taken the opportunity to use Hugh as a carrier for a virus that could have destroyed the Borg. The Borg were a pretty big threat to the Federation at the time. Sure, there wasn't a formal declaration of war, but completely wrecking the Federation fleet at Wolf 359 and Sisko's emotional state, as well as nearly invading Earth, Or are we just calling that an incursion now?
I didn't say war, Commander. I said incursion.
Yeah, tell that to Sisko. But on the other hand, Hugh developed individuality. Even if he wasn't officially unassimilated, it was clear that he started thinking for himself. Plus, they weren't exactly going to tell him that he was going to be used as a means of destruction for the Borg, and probably himself as well. It would have been a little messed up to go through with that plan after all of that.
To use him in this manner, we be no better than the enemy that we seek to destroy.
You could have taken the opportunity to rid the Federation of a mortal enemy.
You try loading a virus into that face! Now, I do like that Nechayev is making Picard answer for his decisions, which doesn't always happen in Next Gen. While at the end of Borg, we're supposed to agree with Picard's decision not to use Hugh as a means of destruction for the Borg, there's a valid argument to be made on the other side. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but an argument can be made.
Your priority is to safeguard the lives of Federation citizens, not to wrestle with your conscience.
Ah yes, that pesky little conscience. But Admiral, consider, do you really want Picard to just blindly follow orders? Do the ends justify the means to you? I mean, I get it, the DS9 episode In the Pale Moonlight exists, and it shows Sisko trying to come to terms with his highly unethical actions in order to save the Federation from being conquered. But they were also really taking a beating at that point in the show. In Borg, they just happened upon a crashed Borg cube. I don't think this is the win you think it is, Admiral. Oh boy, Nechayev's coming on board again. Break out the canapes.
Are those Valerian canopies?
No, the Totino's pizza rolls. Commander Riker is quite fond of them.
Totino's pizza rolls. Hot, good, gone.
Nechayev's back on board because there's yet another treaty with the Cardassians, which was so bad that it eventually led to the creation of the Maquis. Sure, the Cardassians have been known to be underhanded, but hey, let's give them a bunch of our territories and ask our citizens to leave their homes.
It is for the greater good.
To be fair though, this is more on the Federation and not Nechayev. She's just passing along orders.
Your mission will be to evacuate the colony Andorvan 5.
Isn't that where the group of North American Indians settled?
Do I really need to get into why that's in bad taste, Admiral? And if today wasn't bad enough, Wesley's acting like a little jerk for some reason.
3 weeks later.
No Valerian canopy this time, Captain?
No, it's pizza bagels today.
When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
But oh, what a big surprise! The Maquis are amassing weapons to protect their homes. Assuming, of course, if you tried to force them out like the last time.
Believe me, Captain, if I were living that close to the Cardassians, I'd keep a phaser under my pillow, too.
In all seriousness, though, Nechayev does show a little empathy here. Heck, this might be her most vulnerable scene. The situation has her so worried that even Picard can tell how worried she is. She doesn't even buy Gullivec's claim about the Cardassians no longer supplying their colonies with weapons. It's a really crappy situation, but she has her orders and she doesn't want to see the demilitarized zone destabilize. Even if she can empathize on some level with the Maquis colonists, the Federation can't risk an all-out war.
I didn't say war, Commander.
Oh, shut up. So, that mission went well. Ro ended up defecting. Great idea sending someone who would sympathize with anyone fighting the Cardassians. So Nechayev heads over to DS9 to rag on Sisko a little bit.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Technically that wasn't really her. Though that Dominion simulation had her down perfectly.
It's the price of peace, Benjamin.
The price is too damned high.
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if she was complicit in Section 31. Let's go back to when DS9 was dealing with the Maquis because Nechayev stops by the station to talk to the one man who could whip up some nice hors d'oeuvres, but doesn't. Sorry, Admiral, you're not ready for the magnificence of the Sisko kitchen. Well, the Maquis have kidnapped Gul Dukat, and nothing of value was lost. And Nechayev, in her first impression on DS9, opens the conversation by crapping on Odo running security.
Are you sure you wouldn't be better off with a Starfleet officer heading your security team?
Moments like this age interestingly as the show goes on, especially considering Eddington joined the Maquis.
Have you ever reminded Starfleet Command that they stationed Eddington here because they didn't trust me?
But Hey, Nechayev seems to understand where the Maquis are coming from. I'm sure she'll know how to handle them.
The Maquis are a bunch of irresponsible hotheads.
And she's really short with Cisco here, even shorter than she was on the Enterprise with Riker. Wait, is she threatened by Ben? This is the first time she's reacted this way. She never had an outburst like this on the Enterprise. But does that mean she was a little threatened by Riker? That is an interesting way to interpret that scene when you really think about it. Again, she didn't talk that way to Troy for basically asking the same question. But okay, as much as I roast Necheyev and think she's just the worst, she's actually one of the better admirals in Starfleet. Oh, don't get me wrong, I still think she's kind of a bitch, but she's doing her job and not doing anything underhanded. She's not a pressman who is clearly violating a Federation treaty and wanted Riker to cover for him. If anything, she's trying to preserve a treaty and doing it all out in the open. She's not a Nora Satie on a witch hunt to find something wrong. She's only here because there's a situation. She's not Mark Jameson supplying weapons and taking youth pills. She looks fantastic and wants to stop a war from breaking out. She's not there to make friends. She has a job to do, and usually that job involves a lot of lives on the line. In some ways, she's not unlike Captain Jellicoe. Sure, I don't like either of them, but they're not bad officers and they're effective. Heck, neither character needs anyone to like them, and there's something to admire in that. They're there to do a job no matter what you say. So while Nechayev may be the worst in many respects, she's far from being a bad admiral. I wouldn't want to interact with her, but she's not a bad person. Just one with a job to do.
You will always be welcome aboard this ship, Admiral.
Yeah, right! But that's all I have to say about Admiral Nechayev. But now, what do you think? Is Nechayev the admiral you love to hate or hate to love? Is she misunderstood and appropriately brusque? Or did she need to learn how to interact with those under her command? And what are some of your favorite and least favorite admirals in Star Trek? Please, leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another Star Trek video. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
No Balerian canopy this time, Captain.